There are no shortcuts to success. In any area of your life, it doesn't matter if we're talking about your faith, relationship with family and friends, whether you own a business, you work for a company, your finances, your health and fitness. There are no shortcuts to success. All of these things take hard work, and the price is due every day. Good morning. Coach Kelly here with an encouraging word and maybe just a little bit of a rant based on a text that one of my best clients, Wendy Schneider, received about 2 weeks ago. So, one of her best friends sent her a text. This young lady is struggling to lose weight and she's reaching out to Wendy for help. She says she has one group of friends pushing her to do the carnivore diet. She has another group of friends pushing her to do keto. She doesn't know who to believe. She's not making progress. She knew that Wendy had made a good bit of progress working with me, and she's just reaching out for basically clarification on what are you doing. And so Wendy asked me, how do I reply to her? I mean, how do I respond? And I said, tell her the truth. Tell her that you're not following some fad diet, that you eat real whole food, that you drink lots of water, that you use supplements strategically, whey protein and multivitamins and fish oil. You bust your butt in the gym. You do your best to get enough sleep at night and manage stress. It's really not that complicated. We live in an instant gratification microwave society where people want what they want immediately, if not 5 minutes ago. And that's just not how success works in any area of your life, especially with your health and fitness, and especially when it comes to dropping body fat. You cannot force your body to drop body fat. You have to coax your body into dropping body fat. And to borrow from one of my favorite movies of all time, Lord of the Rings, there is no one diet that rules them all. I mean, that just does not exist. There's a variety of ways that you can get it done. So, bottom line, you have to put yourself in a caloric deficit. And again, there's lots of ways that you can do that. I mentioned keto and carnivore. They do it by drastically slashing carbs. That can be effective for some people. Technically, you can put yourself in a caloric deficit by hanging out at your favorite fast food, restaurant every day. I mean, literally you could. If you knew what your daily maintenance level of calories was, and you stayed underneath that level, whether it was McDonald's or Burger King or Whataburger or wherever, you could put yourself in a caloric deficit on a daily basis and lose weight. Now, I don't think that'd be the healthiest way to go, just by sheer nature of how fast food is prepared, and it'd be kind of expensive. You'd be a lot better off going to the grocery store, buying your own food, preparing it at home in a healthy manner. That would be your better play. So, in the balance of this video, I'm going to share with you just a handful of things that I've learned in just over 40 years from the School of Hard Knocks. What I teach my clients today and how that might benefit you. So, I graduated from college in May of 91. I moved down to northern Houston. I lived in the Woodlands. And my goal was to get into the golf industry. I wanted to be a club golf professional, and ultimately I did that for about 4 years. So I joined this little baby gym right in front of the Woodlands, or on the fringes of the Woodlands. Started training there, started making friends, and one lady in particular, just gym friends. But it came up in conversation that I was struggling with my gut health. In fact, I had been struggling with my gut health for a number of years. I'm just going to be honest with you, I had gas and bloating. I mean, some days were worse than others, but it's pretty much always there, and I could not figure it out. Child of the 80s, this was early 90s, but still, there was no Mother Google to turn to. It was books and magazines. I read everything I could get my hands on. I could not figure it out. And she said, you should go see my nutritionist, Keith Klein. Now, I didn't know Keith Klein from Santa Claus, and it's not like I could go look up his social media to do homework on the guy, because again, that didn't exist. But she spoke so highly of him. She said he's a super sharp guy. Give him a chance. She gave me the number to his office. I called and made my appointment, and off I go to see Keith. I still remember walking in. His office is in a great big high rise on the west side of downtown Houston. I still remember walking in their suite for the first time. Roxana, his longtime office manager, was still there. She was so nice. She said, he's wrapping up with another client. Just sit tight, and once he's finished, I'll take you back. And so it wasn't that long. And so she texted me back to his office. And again, I really hadn't thought about what he was going to be like. And so we walk in his office, and he stands up, 6+, shoulders about that wide. I mean, he was ginormous. He was huge, like bodybuilder huge. Now, as I found out, he was not a professional, but he had competed, as an amateur. I mean, he was a big guy. So for the record, I competed in one teenage show after my junior year in high school, one bodybuilding contest. an experience that I would not give away, trade for anything. It was an experience of a lifetime. But my path after that would be a little bit different. My first love was golf. I started playing golf when I was 11, and so I was more interested long term in training for performance on the golf course and then just health and wellness and longevity. But I love to train and I love nutrition. And so Keith and I bonded in that sense. And so literally, he was very sharp. Within about 5 questions, he said, "You're probably lactose intolerant." He said, "Cut the dairy from your diet and I bet your stomach's better." Problem solved. I mean, it was just that simple. The one thing that I'd not tried. Um, if I only would have learned that, it would have been worth the trip. But he taught me so much more, both in that first meeting and then in several follow ups over the course of the summer into that fall. Looking back, of course, I had no idea I was going to be a nutrition coach someday. But looking back, I learned the foundation of what I teach my clients today from Keith back in 1991. It really has never changed. And I still remember him making the statement. And this was not directed at me, but just people in general. He said, "I can teach anyone how to eat in 5 minutes. Helping them learn to manage their emotions around food, depending on the individual, that could take a while. Because in case you haven't noticed, there's a lot of emotion tied to how we eat, and a lot of people really struggle." The other thing I learned about Keith in hindsight is the nature of his clientele. So the bulk of his clients were average men and women off the street, just like me and you. However, he also worked with some of the most elite professional bodybuilders in the world, bodybuilders male, figure athletes female in the world. One guy in particular, Lee Labrada, from 1987 to 1993, he placed top 4 in the Mr. Olympia contest. That is the highest ranking men's bodybuilding contest on the planet. Lee placed top 4 7 years in a row. He was one of the very best in the world, and he trusted Keith to help him with his nutrition. And I was working with Keith with my nutrition. Go figure. Now, in hindsight, I had no idea that that was going on. As I look back, I met Keith in the middle of Lee's 7-year run. That's just kind of ironic to me. But if success leaves clues, and it does, then what can we learn from what Keith taught Lee to allow him to reach the pinnacles of success in the bodybuilding world, and what he taught me that's allowed me to stay in arguably pretty good shape my adult life? I mean, my average body fat is somewhere between 8 and 10. Rarely does it go above 10%. And it's been that way since 91. And I didn't show up to Keith out of shape anyway, but what he taught me has made it so easy to maintain really great shape really my whole life. It's never been difficult. So again, if success leaves clues, it's really straightforward. Lee and I both eat 5 to 6 meals a day, lots of protein, lots of veggies, fruits and other smart carbs, healthy fats, water. Clean whole food. To echo Keith, clean whole food the way God made it. He said if the foundation of your nutrition is based on clean whole food the way that God made it, you're a long ways in the right direction. Now, footnote, there's no magic to 5 to 6 meals a day. There's not. Of all of my clients, and I have a few, I have one guy that eats 6 meals a day. He's super, 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 super active. I have a few that are at 5. The bulk are at 4. Please don't think I'm trying to put everyone into that 5 to 6 meal a day box. That worked for Lee. It works for me. I am incredibly active. If you look at my phone, little over 5 years that I've been with Lifetime, I average just over 10,000 steps a day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. And then you add in my workouts, and then you add in working with my clients, and I'm just very active. I need 6 meals a day, 3 solid, 3 shakes, just to hold on to what little bit of weight that I have at this point. But I don't do cookie cutter. I don't try to stuff everyone into that 5 to 6 meal box. Again, the majority of my clients are at 4. I build nutrition plans based on my clients' needs, their goals, their lifestyles, etc. No cookie cutter. So I thought, what about you? What can you take from what I've shared so far, and how can I help you moving forward? I thought, I'm going to walk you through, this is a an actual first client meeting. She is working with me now, but this was just the initial consult about 3 weeks ago. So this young lady, she'd reached out to me. She walked up to me at the front desk one day in the club and introduced herself, and she said, I heard that you're a nutrition coach, can you help me? I said, well, let's just sit down and talk. So this was that meeting. And so that first day, after initial meet and greet, we went and stepped on the scale, and she was a little bit apprehensive. And and I can tell, I mean, I can read body language. So anytime, especially with my women, anytime I can sense that, I say, look, ask them a question. What are the two bits of information that, well, ask first of all, have you ever used a GPS? Most say yes. And then second of all, so what two bits of information do you have to put in a GPS? And most people get it pretty quickly. Some get hung up, but it's very simple. Start, end. That's it. And I tell them what this machine is going to give us is our starting point. The end is up to you, and I'm going to help you get there. Simple. And that makes them feel better. So she weighed in at 165 pounds. She's only 5'3". So her ideal body weight was more like, or should be more like 125. So she's got some work to do. So we went back in one of the offices and we go through the full consult. And at some point we go through a day in the life of what she's, just what she's eating every day on average. So nothing for breakfast, coffee, love my coffee, but no food. Mid-morning, more coffee, still no food. Now her lunch and dinner actually were not bad. She was having protein, veggies, relatively, healthy carb. Her afternoon snack still cracks me up. I said, "Are you having anything in the afternoon?" She said, "I like goldfish." And I thought, "Goldfish? You mean those little cracker things?" She said, "Yeah, our company provides them." I said, "You realize those are not your friend. We're going to have to upgrade the goldfish." She said, "I was afraid of that." I said, "Well, you know better." So let's start with two things: meal frequency, protein intake. I told you that the bulk of my clients are at 4. Well, there's 2 reasons for that. And I'm going to go over the one now, and I'll come back. I'll get to the other in a second. And it has to do with protein intake. So how much protein? If you look up on Mother Google how much protein, you're going to get a lot of answers. I'll make it simple for you. Boil it down to 1, and this will serve you well. 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight. And you're thinking, all right, so what's my ideal body weight? If you have access to, at our gym, it's called an InBody, but any type of scale that gives you weight, body fat percentage, muscle mass, body fat mass, BMI maybe, if you have that kind of information available, that type of machine, I know ours does, it's going to make a recommendation on how much you need to lose to get down to a more ideal weight. So just do the math. I mean, if you're at 30% and you want to be at 15, just take off 15% of your body weight. There's art and science, and that's not real complicated, but that will serve you well. In a little over 5 years of nutrition coaching, I've met one guy, and that's as of last week, one, that was taking in too much protein. Everyone else, upside down. That 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight is a really good target, and most people are not there. So I asked her, "Do you get hungry in the morning, at the office?" And she said, "Yes, that's why I have the second cup of coffee." I said, "Great. Would you be open to having a little protein shake?" And she said, "Yes." So since that is going to be her only breakfast, what I recommended is a meal replacement shake, 30 grams of protein, and a little bit of carbs, and a little bit of fat, and a little bit of fiber, and probiotics, and digestive enzymes, and vitamins and minerals. It's a very comprehensive little shake, all for 200 calories. 30 grams of protein. Add in, so she doesn't do dairy. We figured that out. So she's going to use almond milk, a little bit of fruit, a little bit of nut butter, zip that up with ice, and you've got a nice little breakfast shake. Now she's going to make that at home, take that with, and have that, somewhere mid-morning. I said, you can even keep that second cup of coffee. It's okay. So she's all for that. Her lunch and dinner, again, were pretty good. It's just portion control there, and I'll come back to that. We got to upgrade the goldfish. So what we negotiated is she can have a protein bar. She can have another shake. Shake in the afternoon is a little bit different, but I won't go into detail. That's just a little bit more simplified, not quite as robust as the morning. And then she also that was it. No, those were the 2 options. It was protein bar or shake. That's what would work for her. Now, her foundation was pretty good overall. Then it was just a matter of me giving her portion control. I don't ever ask my clients to count calories. I don't even ask them to count macros. I don't ask them to use an app. One of my most successful, I have a couple of guys, 2 of my most successful clients in terms of they both lost in excess of 40 pounds. No app. And the one guy, he has no idea how many calories he's eating. He's so busy. He owns his own real estate company. He's so busy doing that. He trusts me. He's like, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And that's what we do, and that works really well. Now, if someone wants to use an app, that is fine, but it's not necessary. I have no current clients, and I have a number of people that have made large changes in their body, and no one's ever used an app. If you want to track I got in the best shape of my life in fall of '99. This wasn't a bodybuilding contest, but it was just, I got in the best shape of my life. I put it simply. I don't know if I had a computer at the time. I don't remember if I had a cell phone. Apps didn't exist. I mean, that was a long time ago. I had a little spiral notebook from Walmart. Left hand page, my nutrition for the day. Right hand page, my workout for the day. I had a scale and I had the mirror and skin calipers. I mean, it's barbaric compared to today, but got in the best shape of my life. According to the calipers, I was about 5%. So go figure. You don't need all the fancy schmancy technology. Use it if you want to, but it's not necessary. So for her, it's just a matter of me giving her the portions every day and her following that. So she and I actually just touched base a couple of days ago. She's been on her plan now for a little over 2 weeks. Her weight is down a couple of pounds. Her muscle mass is fractionally up, and her body fat was down like 2 percentage points. So I said, "That's awesome. I mean, keep doing it. Just keep doing it." Now we're going to meet again soon, but I mean, she's doing great. So let's wrap this up. I'm going to give some checkpoints for you. So back to protein, 1 gram per pound of your ideal body weight. If you're struggling with that, reach out to me. I'll help you. You can eat all the fibrous veggies you want, and it won't matter. So broccoli and cauliflower and spinach and mushrooms and green beans and asparagus and tomatoes and etc. You're not going to OD on those. You're not going to hurt yourself. I am not anti-carb by any stretch of the imagination, but you do need to be more careful with your carbs. So fruits and your starchy carbs, and it comes down to your activity level every day. It just needs to be in alignment with your activity. And fats are the same way. I mean, olive oil and avocado and nuts and seeds and fatty fish like salmon and fish oil. Those are all vitally critical for your health. Just has to be in the right amount. Water, take your weight, cut it in half, drink that in ounces as your base. And if you're carrying a lot of extra body fat, you might ratchet that down a little bit, but that's still a great starting point. And then for every hour of exercise, like 16 to 20 ounces. And then one last thing, how fast can you lose? I mean, what's healthy? 1 to 2 pounds a week of body fat. I don't care what you hear from the media. 1 to 2 pounds a week. That's it. That's your gold standard. And that adds up to a lot of weight in not a long period of time. If you go more aggressive than that with restricting your calories, what you're going to run into is, A, it's not going to be sustainable. You're going to get so freaking hungry that you say, forget this. I want to go and eat whatever you're missing. It's not going to be sustainable. You also run the risk of your body goes into panic mode, and it will literally cannibalize muscle tissue. If you've never heard that before, I promise you it's a real thing. You don't want that to happen. And if that does happen, if you are losing muscle mass because you're dieting too strictly, your metabolism will be damaged and it will downgrade. It will slow down. The really bad part is if you go off of whatever crazy diet that you're following that's creating that effect and go back to eating the way that you were, the muscle mass just doesn't jump back on your body. You got to earn that in the gym, and your metabolism doesn't reset just because you switch diets. You have to go through a process of restoring your metabolism. Trust me, 1 to 2 pounds a week, that is it. That is your gold standard. I know I threw a lot at you. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please reach out. I will reply. Have a great day. I look forward to sharing with you again soon. Okay, so I mentioned that there was a second reason for the meal frequency and why I like 4 meals a day. So these are generalizations, but just follow with me and this will make a point. So if you eat lunch somewhere between, say, 11 and 2, and I know not everyone does, but a lot of people do, that's a pretty good time frame. And then if you're eating dinner somewhere between, say, 5:30 and 8 or maybe 8:30 at night, and that's really real. If you work until 5 or 5:30 and you go to the gym and you don't start working out until 6 and you're there until 7 and then you go home and it's 7:30, you're sitting down to eat dinner at 8 o'clock. I mean, that's really real. So if you have lunch on the earlier side of that window, say you have lunch by noon every day, and you're not having anything in the afternoon, and you're working out after work, and you're not getting until dinner until 8 o'clock at night, noon, 8 hours, no food, plus a workout, you're going to be freaking starving. And the worst thing that we can do is to get hungry, overly hungry, because when we get overly hungry, we lose our mind when it comes to decision making, and it's really true. And now you compound that, I'll share something else with you. Your willpower every day is like a battery, and you start the day at a full charge. And as the day goes by, that little battery, it goes down to the point that you're walking in. Why do you think all people's worst habits come out at night? It's because your willpower battery's shot for the day. Just saying. So you compound that with no willpower and you're starving because you haven't had food in 8 hours. That's a bad combination. What's even a worse combination is to go to a restaurant under those circumstances where you got like Cheesecake Factory and a book that thick of just pure decadence. You can really make some bad choices there. But so still, the value of having that afternoon, I used to call it a snack, and people seem to trivialize that like it wasn't important. So I've switched to calling it a mini meal. Having that afternoon mini meal, that can make all the difference in the world in helping you, A, get enough protein every day. Again, I've already shared with you about that. But then B, helping you manage your hunger so you're not so hungry when you get home at night. You can make better choices with your food. I hope that helps.